Well folks, am I having a brilliant day's fishing. I've popped out for the afternoon just to a local venue, and this place is absolutely solid. I've never even seen this venue before, let alone fished it. It's run by a club in Leicestershire called Green Hills, and the fishing is absolutely superb. The reason for me popping out is for a bit of a school lesson. I'm fishing paste. Now I know paste is absolutely devastating as a bait, and I don't fish it as often as I should do. So what I've done is I've popped out to learn a few little tricks and just to have a bit of a refresher course on paste fishing, and it's been brilliant today. As loads of fish, and what I want to do is try and catch you one. There we go. Try and catch you one in real time, and then I'll talk you through what I've been doing and the lessons that I've learned, because this has been a learning curve for me as well. It's the first F1 of the day, that is. Every other fish has been a carp, but it's a cracking fish. Let's hold him up. Beautiful fish, probably about 2.5, 3 pound. Big for an F1. Look at that, beautiful fish. Right, let's put him back, and I'll talk you through how I've been fishing and what I've learned. The first thing we need to talk about is the kit. Now, paste fishing goes hand in hand with catching some big fish. Usually you catch the bigger than average fish on paste, and that means using robust tackle. So mainline wise, I've gone for a nice robust, never going to get broken 0.20. Hook length wise, I've gone for 0.16, and I've got a big size 10 hook on the end. That size 10 hook not only is going to minimise me losing any fish, but it also grips the paste a little bit better, or the paste grips the hook a bit better, because it's a nice big bit of metal. Elastic wise, I've got a yellow reactor core, a really nice soft spongy elastic which stretches for miles, but obviously with a puller bung I can pull it back and net fish of any size with it. Float wise, now I'm using a Carp classic. It's a Mick Wilkinson diamond. I like it because it's really robust. I've had this particular float for absolutely donkey's years. It's got fiberglass stem, a cane bristle. The bristle's reasonably long, and it takes one number 9 slot shot. And I place that halfway down the rig. That's just to keep the line reasonably tight in the water, and that shots the float to the base of the bristle. Then obviously I can use the paste and just tighten up to the paste a little bit with the float, and just I can get a slight reading whether the paste's still on, or obviously I can see those sail away paste bites that are unmissable. Bait selection when you're paste fishing has been something that a lot of people, me included, have got really confused with. Now, for today's session I've kept it really simple, and I think that's always the best way. What I like to do when I'm paste fishing is I mix my paste at the start of the session into a ground bait. That gives me a dry paste, so I can use it straight out of the tub as a dry ground bait, as a dry paste, or I can add water to it throughout the day. So I've mixed up a bag of green swim stim, pushed it through a riddle. That gives me my ground bait, that gives me my base to work from. Then on my side tray I've got a 1 pint tub that I call my working tub. And throughout the session I'll add a bit of ground bait to that working tub, maybe add a bit of water, and make little batches with different consistencies, and I'll try that throughout the day. And that has been absolutely brilliant today, because sometimes I want a little hard ball, sometimes I want it a really sloppy ball, almost dripping off the hook. And that is really key when you're paste fishing, altering the consistency throughout the day. Now, to complement the paste, I've brought along with me 3 tins of frenzied hemp seed. Carp love hemp seed. It's a nice heavy bait. It sits on the bottom, creates a nice bed of bait, and it's been working perfectly today. And I think paste and hemp seed go hand in hand. let me talk to you about how we've started the session and what we've learnt throughout the day. So I could see from just walking around this lake, there's loads of fish. Now, the lake's only shallow, there's fish everywhere. The last thing I wanted to do is feed a load of bait at the start. I just wanted to feed a little bit of bait just to maybe attract one or two fish into the peg. Whenever I'm fishing, I'm not about attracting a massive amount of fish into the peg. You can only catch one at a time, so what I want to do is just attract one or two fish to the peg, create a little bit of competition, hopefully get one of those fish to take your hook bait. That way you're cutting down on line bites, you're cutting down on all the problems associated with attracting too many fish into your swim. So, as I say, I could see all those fish around the lake. Last thing I want to do is feed a pile of bait at the start. I've simply filled my pot. I've got a nice big pot that I've slid probably a foot from my pole tip. It's called a Grip Flex pot. It doesn't damage your pole whatsoever. It's massive. It's the Whopper version. It's a brand new size. That houses my hook bait, my paste, because obviously the paste is really soft. I can't ship it out hanging. I have to place it in a pot. And it also houses any loose feed I want to put into the swim. At the start of the session, I filled that with hemp seed. I've put my hook bait in and just dropped my bait in. Swim here is about 2.5 foot deep. It's a really shallow lake. And within maybe 2 or 3 ships in and out, each lasting maybe a minute or so, I've not left it in for a long amount of time. After 2 or 3 ships in and out, 2 or 3 casts with the bait, you can already see fish hanging around the area, sort of clouds of cloud in the bottom. It's been really good. I can't believe how good the fishing's been. And that indicated to me the fish have arrived, I'm going to get some bites. And sure enough, probably 4th or 5th put in, I've attached to my first fish. And then it's all about repeating the process and just tailoring the amount of feed that you put in the pot each chuck. So I found today that if I filled that pot every time with hemp seed, I just attracted too many fish into the peg, and that's just not what I wanted to do. You'd start foul hooking fish, you get problems. Last thing you want to be doing with paste is striking, because obviously you're striking into thin air, or maybe foul hooking a fish and losing it. So cutting back on the hemp, and occasionally when I could see fish in the swim, not feeding any hemp seed at all and just dropping my paste in has been absolutely brilliant. Now I appreciate that on a deeper venue you might need to feed a little bit more bait. You might need to feed maybe even some heavier baits like hard pellets or maybe sweet corn that sink a bit faster. But for today, with the shallow nature of this venue, hemp seed has been absolutely brilliant. Tailoring the consistency of my paste and the size of paste that I've used has been really good. So I've noticed that a lot of the fish that I've been catching have been 3 to 6 pounds. Let's say that's been the average size of fish. So using a tiny ball of paste, okay, I started on that and it was okay. I started catching some fish, but as soon as I increased the size of paste I was using, strangely enough, bigger hook bait, I started catching bigger fish. So I started on maybe a thumbnail size bit of paste, and soon I was doubling that to maybe, you know, the size of a conker. Still really sloppy. I found that the sloppier the paste, the better today. Again, maybe in deeper water, you might have to stiffen that up a little bit. But even so, as a good rule of thumb, if you can hold the paste up and it doesn't fall off your hook, it's too stiff. You need it to be falling off your hook if you hold that paste up into the air. So that pole pot is critical for getting your bait out there. Now, again, a little trick that I've messed around with today is where I've been lowering the paste in. So whether I've been lowering it in from a height, tapping it out of the cup from a height, or just trying to sneak it in to try and limit the amount of fish into the swim. I found that tapping that paste in from a height, those fish homed in on it so fast. And it was great when there weren't so many fish around, but because there's been so many fish, I keep saying it, but it has been amazing today. Lowering that paste in, just trying to sneak it in, so keeping the pole tip low to the water when I tap that bait out, has been brilliant. You're setting a trap, you're keeping your rig nice and still, and all of a sudden, you get no indications, bang, float zooms under, you're attached to a unit. It's been as easy as that. I'm going to have another half hour's fishing. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe. There's loads of videos on my channel. Until next time, tight lines.